Hey guys, it's Nova here from Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service. I'm so excited to be here today talking to Raj with the on-call empath, and I'm talking about narcissistic abuse and what it's like for you guys who have experienced it, if you're living with one, trying to understand if the person you're with, whether that's a parent, someone you work with, or of course an intimate partner actually is a narcissist, and talking about how you can escape that type of abuse, and also the fact that this abuse was never your fault, and of course talking about strategies to heal when you have been abused by a narcissist. And you are listening to the On-Call Empath.
All right, guys, we are back for yet another episode. And I've been waiting for this episode because I know a lot of you guys, empaths that tune in, really want somebody to come here that's an expert in the narcissist abuse field. And so, my next guest, Nova Gibson, who is the founder and principal counselor at Brighter Outlook, a narcissistic abuse counseling service. You guys better listen to her because she has not only a lot of knowledge, but in the last 10 years supported over 3,000 individual clients who believe they were abused by undiagnosed narcissists. She's got 100,000 followers on Instagram, and it's just a total honor to have you on my podcast, Nova. Thank you for being a guest here today.
My absolute pleasure, Raj. I'm so glad that you reached out and asked me. It's an honor for me to be here with you. I'm passionate about this subject,
Yeah.
as am I. It's not only my area of expertise, but it's my absolute
Mhm.
area of passion. So I'm really happy to be here talking with you about it today.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really got me going is like just your Instagram, every feed, every post, just it hits me right here. And I'm going to put the link in the bio, but guys, definitely check out her material. So let's just dive right into it. I know
Sure.
nowadays, narcissists, all this stuff, people are throwing the term around. I just want to get it from you and make it clear. People that are narcissists, I mean, they say that there's a small population of narcissists. Sometimes people are in a spectrum, sometimes people have narcissistic tendencies. Let's just clear the air here, especially for all the empaths that are tuning in. Can you be with somebody who's maybe undiagnosed as possibly just having narcissist trait and not being a full-blown narcissist? How do we distinguish the line and balance in that?
Yeah, look, that is such a valid question and something I get asked a lot. A lot of the time I get asked that question, Raj, because people are looking for some kind of reason to make what's happening to them not as bad as it is, and hoping that this person that they have become
Mhm.
trauma bonded to can change, or they're fixable, or they don't really mean what they're doing. It's not intentional, which means that, that I guess the abuse isn't as bad as it is. The reality is that narcissists don't get diagnosed. Okay,
Right.
about the only time a narcissist is going to get diagnosed is probably in a courtroom setting where a judge is going to go, hey, you need to go and go through all of these gamut of tests. And even then, a narcissist manipulates, they lie, they know what that person is searching for. So a lot of the time they
Mhm,
will be able to, fake
mhm.
those kinds of tests. So my belief is that it is so prolific in our society, and they go undiagnosed simply because narcissists don't think that there is anything wrong with them. It's everyone around them who ends up in therapy. A
Mhm.
narcissist is not going to walk into a therapist's office and say,
No.
can I please have, I think I need help for my
Right.
narcissism. It's everyone they
Mhm.
abuse who ends up in therapy. So, yes, 99.9 of those 3,000 people I talked to would have been with an
Mhm.
undiagnosed narcissist, and the victim becomes the expert because of the research they do, and they have that light bulb moment and they realize, oh my goodness, this is my story, this is what I've been through. And they know that their abuser meets 5 of those 9 traits, and they are able to diagnose themselves. But a formal diagnosis is just never going to happen, or it's very
Mhm.
rare.
Yes, and I don't know if you can debunk this myth, but from my experience working in several larger companies and things like that, and even people in higher power, it just seems they make it all the way up to the higher ranks, not just politically, but also medically and in these corporations. They tend to move up. Is it because of manipulation that you kind of have to have that tough skin to run and maybe intimidate everybody? Because I think that's one of the reasons why things are like falling apart, at least in the United States. If you look at
Sure.
all these companies, they're ran by a certain, yeah.
Narcissists. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, you think about it. Those positions, presidents, prime ministers, heads of CEOs, people in charge of organizations and corporations, that have this huge amount of power that can create havoc on people's lives because they control all that power. You have to have pretty much no empathy to step over people and ignore that what you're doing is
Mhm.
hurting people and killing people to maintain those positions. They are positions of power, and you've got people falling all over themselves to be a flying monkey for you, to be in your vicinity because you're someone
Mhm.
special. You've got the power to influence people and make people do what you tell
Mhm.
them they should do. So these positions, they get to that spot because they can step over people like they're a cockroach with no empathy. Their
Mhm.
pulse doesn't change. And someone like, I guess, you or I, we couldn't do that.
Yeah,
And that's why they reach these sorts of positions.
very
No, and
interesting.
Raj, I just need to qualify that by saying, because I know there'll be people out there today who go, hey, I'm a CEO of a company. I'm not
Yeah.
one of those people.
We're not
So,
talking
yeah,
about you. You're an empath.
yeah, no, we're not talking about you, but I guess you can, without mentioning names, you could probably think of a few people, and it's very, very common. And as you mentioned, Raj, doctors, lawyers, counselors, psychologists, these are positions, police officers, and once again, not all police officers. I have
Right.
the utmost respect for police officers, but there are some who go into those positions because they have the
Mm.
ability to have power over
Mhm.
other people. And the same with counselors and
Mhm.
psychologists. You have people hanging off your every word, and you can
Mhm.
influence people. And that's why
Yeah.
narcissists find themselves in those positions,
Mhm.
some or a lot of the time.
Yeah, very interesting. And I was kind of pondering the other day because I mean I love this topic, and I like want to get deep scientifically in and go inside of a mind of a narcissist. And one of the
Sure.
things that I do ask myself is this, how much is it our environment versus something genetic? Like, is it something that we are born with and it's like a sentence until we're dead, till death, or is it something that society creates and this person becomes a narcissist? I mean, I don't know if you go back to the family tree, like couple generations, is it something that is constantly being reproduced throughout, someone in a family tree where like their grandfather was like a narcissist, and then the chances of them if they have kids they're going to be narcissist? or is it the environment? I mean, that's a question I've already always asked myself. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering what your
and a
take is.
question, yeah. Once again, a very valid question coming from a victim, because you want to know why. Why is this person abusing me? And there's got to be a reason for it. They can't know what they're doing, because it's so cruel what they're doing. And the truth is that for um, a lot of the research is out on exactly how someone becomes a narcissist. But most research that is out there that you will find indicates that it's environmental, in that at a very young age,
Mm-hmm.
the narcissist that you know now possibly experience some kind of trauma,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I guess as I guess the equivalent of like a shield of armor, a coping mechanism, a survival technique. They developed this personality, not a mental illness. They developed a new personality, a false mask, if you will, and
Yeah.
they buried that weak, insipid, wounded child that was hurt at that time, and they took on this persona that was like a force field around them, that they couldn't be hurt again. The trade-off with that, though, was that all vulnerabilities were gone, which includes empathy, compassion, kindness,
Mm.
and remorse. They can get you hurt. Okay, so when they developed this cruel, if you will, exterior that needs other people to reflect back to them that their mask is real. That's
Mhm,
why they need your reactions, so that when you react
mhm,
to either their abuse, their love bombing, whatever they're doing, you are proving to them that they exist, that that mask is real.
mhm,
And going back to the time of the trauma, they bury that weak,
mhm,
wounded true self, and that new personality, that's who
mhm,
they are. So there's no point as an adult feeling sorry
mhm,
for these
mhm,
people, because they, as you know, they will
mm.
justify
Yeah.
all of their cruelty, and they will
Mhm.
not care, because you've got to remember the empathy's gone.
Yeah.
The empathy is gone, and they know what they're doing. They just don't care, because it
Mhm,
becomes all about them. Now, the flip side of that is that it can also result in overindulgence, where they get given everything they want. There's no rules. There's no consequences for actions. The rules don't apply to them. They're superior to everyone else, and they have this
mm,
massive sense of entitlement, and they get to walk all over people because they're so much better, and
mhm,
no one deserves what they deserve.
mhm,
Excuse me. So you've got that flip side where
mhm,
they just get whatever they want, and they take it. They
mhm,
don't ask. Now that's I guess the environmental aspect. But
mhm.
there's also research out there that indicates that there can also be a
Mhm.
genetic component, which kind of makes sense. If you've got
Yeah.
a narcissist that's, let's say it's your partner, and chances are they've got a narcissistic parent, and that there would have been a narcissistic grandparent. So it kind of makes sense that there would be
Mhm,
some kind of a genetic component there. So what you've got to remember with that trauma is that that narcissistic parent is not only, I guess, abusing that child as a narcissist does, but they're also role modeling how
mhm,
to be a
mhm,
narcissist. This is what you do. You just
mm.
take
Yeah.
what you want. You abuse others. You
Mm,
don't have any empathy because it gets you hurt. So
mhm,
you've got possibly that genetic component there. You've got the environmental abuse, whether
mhm,
it's overindulgence or straight out
mhm,
trauma. And then you've got the role modeling of
mhm,
the behavior, which is, this is how you
mhm.
become a narcissist, and this is what you do to other people.
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect storm to create a narcissistic person.
Yeah. That is amazing, and all of you guys that are tuning in, I just want you to highlight that center in the brain where we all have empathy, especially the empaths, the highly sensitive people, we care for others. They don't have that. And you can wait all your life for that to come in, and it won't. They may give you false hope that they're going to change, and it's just a facade, and they're going to go right back to their old self. So one thing I wanted to mention to you, something that actually happened to me personally not too long ago, is I'm sure you heard of narcissist injury. So
Yes.
I didn't know much about the topic about taking the mask off and going head to head with a narcissist, but I called them out once and I embarrassed them in front of certain people. At that time, I mean, I identified as an empath, and this person just was trying to control me. And then finally, I called them out for what they were, and they were very quiet. They didn't really say anything until I was alone and I was in a
Yes.
vehicle with them. That's when they actually threatened my life, and they said because I embarrassed them that they don't know who I'm dealing. It was a male that I thought I knew well, but obviously I didn't, and um, so maybe that I know that I'd caused a narcissist injury. So I wanted to ask you, is it dangerous, or what would you say to people that you coach and some of your clients? Would you be against going head to head with a narcissist and calling them out, taking the mask, exposing them, and showing people like, watch out, this guy is crazy. He's gonna hurt you, or she's gonna hurt you. She's a manipulator. What would you say, as far as like for safety wise? I mean, especially for a narcissist, because we're known to be so attracted to them and letting things slide.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, absolutely, I would say that. These guys are dangerous, male or female narcissists. Like narcissistic injury, what you've done, you
Mm.
when you created that injury, that wound to their ego, they perceive criticism. Now, whether you believe you did something, completely unforgivable or not, which is highly unlikely, the narcissist has a hairline trigger for
Oh,
criticism,
yeah.
because to be criticized is means that you are telling them that that false self is not real and that you can see behind it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if they perceive criticism from you, they are going to fly into what we call a narcissistic rage. Now, people, to heal that wound, they need to punish you for creating that narcissistic injury to their ego. Now, the problem is that people associate narcissistic rage, and I'm sure most people have heard of that, with loud and I guess going off the deep end and screaming and yelling and threats of death and all kinds of things like that that are very overt. Um, but so many narcissists and will engage in very passive aggressive narcissistic rages, just like yours did, where they said to themselves, yep, you'll keep I'm not going to expose the true self in front of these people.
Exactly.
I will wait till I've got Raj on his own,
Yes,
and
in
then
the car.
I will
Hmm.
put the fear inside him. So narcissistic rage doesn't have to always be, really, really out there and overt. It can
Hmm.
be very passive aggressive, where they might think, yeah, you'll keep, and they ring your boss on the sly, or they
Hmm. Hmm.
sabotage your car, or do something that's very, very sneaky, but just as damaging to you. And that is a narcissistic rage. They're just engaging in it in a different way. But do I suggest that you go head to head? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Hmm.
If you're fearful of a narcissist, and what they can do, you go to the police. You get a restraining
Yeah,
order. You go to your boss. You you do whatever it takes to protect yourself, but don't go and tell your abuser that they're hurting you. You're giving them the heads up on what you're going to do.
got you. So all of you guys that are tuning in, and I don't know, many of you, like especially the ones that I coach, that are living with a narcissist or trying to recover from narcissists, just be careful. And that's why I wanted to create this episode, to create awareness. Don't make any subtle moves. Don't try to take the mask off. You will be regretting it, and it could be life threatening. So just be careful out there. So just kind of wrapping up here, one thing I want to kind of give you the last word to possibly a victim that's tuning into this podcast episode right now. What can you say to a victim that is living possibly with a narcissist right now, or uh, left the narcissist and just having a hard time dealing with everyday life because their nervous system is out of whack, they have trauma bond, they're not sure like how they can make sense of what just happened? What can you tell to that person, especially after this podcast, that what can they do to start getting their life back where it at least used to before they met this one
Sure.
person?
Yeah. It's a journey that a healing journey that you have to make an absolute 100% commitment to. Leaving the narcissist is sometimes the hardest thing. Actually getting out,
Yeah.
escaping, because of that trauma bond and all the manipulative strategies they use to make you dependent on them. But if you get out, then you've got factors like the narcissist trying to hoover you back in, suck you back in, because they want you, they miss you, no, because they want to regain
Mhm.
control of you. And you've got that trauma bond there. The trauma bond slash addiction is this powerful connection to your abuser. Now, you've had this roller coaster of chemicals going through your body where the adrenaline's pumping when, the cortisol's overflowing when they're abusing you. In the beginning, the oxytocin's flowing, the dopamine receptors are all being hit at once, and then they rip those feel-good chemicals away from you, and you're left with that where did my soulmate go, or where did that person go who was treating me so well?
Yeah.
And you're left with these horrible
Mhm.
feelings. And after a while, the narcissist in your life didn't need to love bomb you anymore. They could just throw you out some breadcrumbs and you would stick around, because the alternative to be in withdrawal from that roller coaster, from your drug, that's unbearable. So you settle for those
Mm.
breadcrumbs. And this is why I refer to it as a very powerful addiction, because it's not that you love this person, because you can't love someone who abuses you, but you think you love someone, not because it feels good to be with them, but because it feels so bad to be without them. That's
Mhm.
not love. That's a trauma bond. That's addiction.
Mhm.
And that is what you're going to have as well. No different to, say, someone who's addicted to heroin, having to go cold turkey. If you're talking to the narcissist, in contact with them at all, it's like the heroin addict, having coffee with their dealer, and thinking that they're, a dealer who is actively invested in getting them
Mhm.
rehooked on that drug because they want the money. Um, that's what it's going to be like if you have
Mhm.
any contact with your abuser. I know some people have kids, so you minimize it. Bare
Mhm.
minimum, email only, parenting app. Don't see them at pickups and drop-offs. Get third parties to do it.
Mhm.
So no contact, minimal contact, and lots of support to heal the damage that's been done, and to find the person you're
Mhm.
meant to be before you were abused. And remaining, yeah, no contact from your abuser, and your self-care
Yeah.
is everything. You've got to fill that void that the narcissist left behind when they
Mhm.
enmeshed themselves in your life.
Yeah. It's so sad how many people, I mean, that I talk to and coach, like they're either stuck in a relationship And one of the biggest things that I hear is like, it took almost 2-3 years for me to even find out that they had narcissistic tendencies, because they were so sweet in the beginning. They were so nice. Everybody loved them. And that's how the process worked, guys. We never know, especially when you have no boundaries and you're a people pleaser, and you want to be accepted. That's when they got you. And it may not happen the first couple months of the relationship, whether it's romantic or even like a job. Like, you won't see that side. But I know from you know my experience that they will show you their true colors once they know a little bit about you, and then they can use that against you and hold a carrot in front of you that they will, if you don't listen to them, they can take this away or hold back this and hold back love. So
They,
I'm
they, too,
yeah,
they will, as sure as the sun comes up tomorrow, they will drop the mask. They have to,
yeah,
because that being nice and
mhm,
having everything be about someone else, that is not sustainable.
yeah,
So the mask must drop.
yeah,
So they will show you their true selves as soon as they know you're hooked. That mask, it has to come off,
yeah,
because it needs to be all about them. And that's
absolutely.
when you will be so confused and trying to get back that person that you knew before, that was so nice
Mhm,
to you.
yeah. Well, it was an honor having you on the podcast. I wish I had met you many years ago and just had a conversation. It would have saved so many, it would answer so many questions, because you're so much full of knowledge and you're obviously really good at what you do. So before we take off, Nova, can you just share with our audience where we can find you and anything else you'd like to share?
Sure. Guys, and well, first of all, Raj, I want to thank you. It's been an honor for me to sit here and talk with you. I know
Thank you.
how much you do for the community, and it's, yeah, you do an amazing job. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Guys, you can find me. I'm a professional counsellor here in Brisbane, Australia, but I counsel people via Skype or Zoom all over the world. You can find me on Instagram at Nova's Narcissist Abuse Recovery. Just be careful. There's a couple of people who have scammed my page at the moment. They just change a couple of letters around, and then what do? Oh, they block me, so I can't find out about it. And then, one of my
Yeah,
lovely followers has to tell me.
my
So just be
goodness.
careful, it's me. Same with Facebook. Someone's created a pretend page pretending to me. But on Facebook, you just look up Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service. On both those platforms, I do live stream narcissistic abuse recovery question and answer sessions. They're live, they're free. You can join in and meet other victims and survivors. And I always post on my page when they're coming up. And I've just started up a TikTok channel. It's just brand new. So please look for Nova's Narc Recovery, and I'll be doing live streams on that too. And the other big exciting news I have, Raj, is that I've got a book coming out. Probably not, I know, very exciting for a few months yet. It's a long process. It's with the publisher at the moment. Just look out, it'll be advertised Fake Love and Flying Monkeys.
Check out her Instagram. I'm gonna have all the information below in the bio. Good luck with your book. I'm excited. I'm gonna get it as soon as it comes out. So definitely keep me in the loop, and you're always welcome back to the podcast anytime. You're VIP basically. So
Thank you, Raj. Lovely to
absolutely.
be here.
Absolutely. All right, guys, stay tuned. I got a ton more guests. We're almost at 200 episodes. Got more guests on the way. Thank you for coming with me on my journey. Also, if you need coaching, you know where to reach me. And with that said, we are out.
You're listening to the On Call Empath.